hazard. One passenger indicated the bridge may have collapsed as the train...
Burlington. And now, part 2 of As the World Turns.
Game Gear. System to game, sold separately.
It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even
Energizer batteries are perfect for all kinds of Christmas gifts. And the perfect place to buy them is at Canadian Tire, where Energizer multi-packs are just $6.99 each. Energizer batteries. They keep going and going and going. So march on over to Canadian Tire and stock up for the holidays. Canadian Tire, where you can give like Santa and save like Scrooge.
Stir up your Christmas party with the rhythms of Sal Soul Orchestra's Christmas Jollies. Available for the first time on compact discs. 1 million copies sold across Canada. Sal Soul Orchestra Christmas Jollies. Available at all record dealers.
Carol puts her faith in a marriage improvement book, but the results are not what she expected. Tomorrow on Step by Step at 7:30. Then at 8, Holly's vision of spending a storybook Christmas at a French chateau are shattered in Café Américain.
The spirit of the holidays comes to the Montreal Forum with Nestlé's presentation of Le Ice Show from December 26th through the 31st, starring our World Pairs champions, Isabelle Brasseur and Lloyd Eisler, the legendary Dollar Cranston, Quebec pop favorites Marie-Carmen and Les Bébés, and for the young ones, the ever-popular Flintstones. Le Ice Show from December 26th through the 31st, on sale at the Forum and all admission outlets. Call 790-1245.
Honey, I need you. Sing it, I need you.
CFCF 12 and RDA Productions are proud to present the best of Quebec Country 93.
Sometimes she's bad for me. Sometimes she don't.
This new release features Quebec's best and original homegrown country music.
Déjà le soir tombe et je t'aime. Merci de nous laisser chanter. Il est déjà très tard dans la nuit.
Hear tomorrow's country music stars today, available on cassette or CD.
Can't take it anymore.
Have your credit card ready and call 514-888-4214. That's 888-4214 for the best of Quebec Country 93.
Those of you who don't have to be on the road, stay home.
The snow's not stopping. I know, honey.
Save up to 1/3 on a fabulous assortment of beautiful printed and solid color silk blouses. Up to 1/3. 'Tis the season to make Christmas wishes come true at Zellers.
Merry Christmas!
Because the lowest price is the law every day.
I made it.
Hope everybody has a happy Christmas like ours.
So do I, honey. So do I.
For Back to the Future 3, Saturday at 1.
This evening on Pulse, a dangerous new use for the home computer. 3 teenagers are maimed. And tearing down the labor barriers, Quebec offers Ontario a new deal. Good evening. Bill is off tonight. One of the most powerful tools of modern times took on a perverted and dangerous dimension today. 3 Montreal area teenagers have been seriously injured because of something they learned through their home computers. They learned how to build bombs, and the bombs exploded prematurely. Joe Singerman has been following the story and has this report.
12-year-old Stefan Kunze is logging on to a computer bulletin board service. He's chosen a program called Anarchy for Fun and Profit.
We saw it at first,
The program describes in detail how to make bombs to kill and maim using simple household supplies.
Personally, I don't think anybody should download this. I think it's sort of ouchy if people lose their fingers out of it. Just to make the little thing go poof.
More like kaboom.
Kaboom.
Bombs, yes, and the instructions are available to anyone with a computer and a device known as a modem, which links the computer with telephone lines and other computers. In the last 4 weeks, 3 teenagers using the Anarchy for Fun and Profit computer program were treated at St. Justin's Hospital when the bombs they made blew up in their faces, losing fingers and parts of their hands. The chief of plastic surgery is urging parents to be vigilant.
The 3 boys that injured their hand in the last month are all intelligent, good boys, adolescents, but they played a dangerous game.
Last week, Stefan Kunzi's mother caught him printing 60 pages of instructions how to make explosives. She immediately grabbed the information from her son.
The computer technology is a wonderful educational tool, and unfortunately, there are others who are using it not for education in a positive way.
One of the victims is a 14-year-old in Fabreville. Last week, the bomb he made exploded, seriously injuring him. Police confiscated these instruction sheets along with a computer diskette. They explain how to make all types of explosives, including a hydrogen bomb. Again, the information was obtained from a computer bulletin board.
Ce qu'on peut demander aux parents, c'est d'être vigilants, de voir s'ils sont en mesure de voir ce que sont les lectures de leurs adolescents.
Detectives are continuing their investigation, trying to find out how this type of information, how to build bombs, is readily available to the public. But they want to remind the population that possession of an explosive device is a criminal offense. Joe Singerman, Pulse News.
Joining us from the newsroom is computer expert Karen McGregor. Karen, what exactly is a BBS?
A BBS is an electronic bulletin board service. It's a computer that you set up to answer the telephone. And then other computers, if I'm sitting with a computer at my home, I can call that computer and I can leave mail for other people who can call in and pick up that mail, or I can read the mail and the messages left by everybody else. I can also upload a file of information to it, and that computer will store that information, and then any other caller with their computer can pick up that information.
Now, Karen, how extensive is this network in Montreal, and how easy would it be for a teenager to hook up and get onto this?
Oh, to get into a BBS is fairly easy. We have, at the moment, something over 300 free BBSs that you can call up, and you can get a list of their numbers. But that doesn't mean all of them have dangerous information. Very few of them have the dangerous information. But to just call in a general BBS, anyone can do it with a computer and a modem.
You know, Karen, that police are telling parents to be careful, to watch what their children are doing. It sounds a little difficult. How would a parent do that?
Well, you have to, supervise your children. I don't want you to feel that people have to be really careful about BBSs. I've been on BBSs for years. Most kids I know who use them have grown up with them and learned to read and be articulate and learned to write well, and they're a wonderful tool. I don't want you to feel that every BBS has dangerous information. I think the risk is very, very low. If you have, I don't want to demean what happened to these kids, but kids do dangerous things, and if you have kids who do dangerous things, they're going to do dangerous things. In other eras, kids would play chicken on the train tracks or jump on buses that were running and things. So you've got to be responsible to your children and take an interest in what they're doing, but I don't think there's a high risk here at all.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today, Karen.
This is Ann Shatilla. Coming up, the doors swing open at Chez Clos, a Little East End restaurant serving free warm meals to the homeless. A true Christmas gesture.
The Montreal Urban Community Council meeting is underway at Montreal City Hall. Off-duty police officers have staged a private protest to make a point. Ralph Noseworthy is at the council meeting and files this report.
Some 80 off-duty MUC police officers filed into the spectators gallery for the MUC council meeting, calm and quiet, with one message.
C'est une réalité. Nous, ce qu'on recherche, c'est tout simplement de conclure une entente pour la durée de 3 ans.
Brotherhood's message, they want a new labor contract negotiated soon, early in the new year. Ralph Noseworthy, Pulse News.
Quebec is offering an olive branch in its escalating trade war with Ontario. It's proposing the destruction of all trade barriers and the creation of a huge free trade zone. Barry Wilson reports from Quebec City.
Quebec business has lost an estimated $600 million since Ontario announced an official government boycott of Quebec products. Private companies have also started to avoid Quebec goods. But the growing trade war between Canada's two biggest partners could end soon. Quebec has called a truce.
Quebec is prepared to abandon all its measures that are perceived as being protections.
That includes the requirement that businesses bidding on government contracts have a Quebec address, and Quebec will drop its preferential buying policy, which allows Quebec companies a 10% edge in bidding for contracts. Premier Bourassa admitted today that the trade war is one of the most acute problems facing his government.
Que l'une des raisons pour lesquelles nous avons fait adopter la loi 142.
He explained that opening up Quebec construction sites to Ontario workers was one of the reasons for passing Bill 142 to deregulate the construction industry, a decision for which the Liberals have taken considerable heat from angry construction workers.
The government has shown very clearly that there's a political will to solve the interprovincial trade barriers.
Tremblay will talk with his Ontario counterpart tomorrow. He says an agreement could be worked out within days. He says his main condition for a deal is that Ontario's bidding process be open so that fairness can be assured. The Quebec Manufacturers Association, which for years has been pushing for this kind of policy, is delighted by today's announcement. But at the same time, it says it's too bad the government waited so long to realize how serious the problem is. Barry Wilson, Pulse News, Quebec City.
And here in Montreal, the head of the Quebec Manufacturers Association, Richard Lehire, told Pulse he welcomed today's move by the government. He described it as excellent news and said he hopes Ontario will respond by suspending its actions against Quebec manufacturers. Emotions ran high when over 100 of Duplessis orphans packed a Montreal courtroom today. They want government funding for a class action suit. The suit would try to get damages for abuse they had endured in the 1950s and 60s. But as Anne Lewis reports, it's proving a long, hard road.
The images we have of life at Mont-Providence in the 1960s are blurred. But the memories carried to this day by many of Duplessis' orphans are sharp, detailed, bitter.
C'est pour qu'il y ait une justice sur la terre. Vous savez,
the court heard this man, Hervé Bernard, describe in detail how one day in March 1955, his class of 8-year-olds was told that from now on, they were no longer students and there would be no more school. They were patients now, with mental deficiencies. They would do workshop projects instead of school. He said he later found out it was because Maurice Duplessis had given the financially troubled Mont-Providence money to become a mental hospital.
Quand on était jeunes, nous étions intelligents, mais on nous a donné une étiquette de débridé mentale.
Over 100 Duplessis orphans packed into a Montreal courtroom today in the latest stage of their legal battle. Lawyers have contacted more than 4,000 inmates of 7 orphanages during the 1950s and 1960s. They're now seeking retribution for years of abuse, physical, sexual, and verbal, years, too, of neglect and of deprivation. Some of the orphans want the government to finance a class action suit, but their request was turned down last month by the fund which provides the money. Now they're appealing that refusal. They want a judge to declare they have enough claimants with similar stories to merit class action status.
We're asking the government to give us financing to sue the government and les religieuses. And I guess, you know, politically it's like strange a little bit. So now we're asking the court to decide instead of them.
This appeal has been granted emergency status. That means the judge is expected to decide in about 2 weeks. And if it's not favorable, the orphans say they'll explore other legal alternatives. Anne Lewis, Pulse News.
Howard Schwartz joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the other stories we've covered today. Howard?
Thank you, Mitsumi. The MUC Police Riot Squad was rushed out to the north end of Montreal this morning. There had been reports it was trouble related to the construction industry, but it turned out to be an angry dispute involving members of an international union. Over 40 MUC police were sent to the office of Local 62 of the Laborers International Union of North America on Jarry Street. The local represents construction industry laborers. Some of the members, including the president, met last night over what they call financial irregularities in their books. They want the local put under trusteeship. They changed the locks and occupied the office. Police persuaded them to leave, and no arrests were made. A bill adopted in the National Assembly today allows municipalities in the province to get tougher on the domestic use of pesticides. Bill 139 allows cities and towns to enact their own regulations as long as they are stricter than the basic laws set out by Quebec. In the Montreal courthouse today, 44-year-old Antoine Villot was charged in connection with yesterday's stabbing death of a woman in a downtown Montreal apartment building. The 56-year-old victim died shortly after Urgence Santé and police arrived at her apartment at Le Nouveau Colisée at the corner of Sherbrooke West and Jeanne Mance. Police confirmed they had been called to the same apartment on Monday morning. They say the murder suspect had been detained and taken to a local hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. Then he was released. Mitsumi.
Thank you, Howard. Some of Montreal's homeless were treated to a free meal this morning, and that's thanks to an East End restaurant owner who just wanted to help out. Anne Chatilla reports.
Meet Claudette Massé. She owns Chez Clos, and today she's helping hundreds of Montreal's less fortunate with free breakfast.
Pour les gens du quartier, là, parce que c'est très, très pauvre, le quartier.
She says she does this good deed once a year because she sees poverty every day. Chez Clos is located in the Maisonneuve-Rosemount district, one of the poorest in the province. Over 400 meals are served. Homeless from a dozen agencies are bussed in. The lineup doesn't stop this morning. Here, the homeless get a welcome of tourtière, home fries, fresh donuts, and fresh orange juice. For so many, the gift is so welcomed.
Oh, the meal was terrific, and it's a nice gesture. Like, it's very rare to see this.
Andre Beauchamp brought over 150 homeless from the old brewery mission. They're able to eat to their heart's content.
They're eating 2-3 times.
They don't get that usually?
No.
We never get breakfast and nice homemade bread and everything.
For Clos, this undertaking is no easy job. She needs almost 20 people to serve. The cost of this free food this morning, almost $6,000. But for Clos, it's a way to say she cares. For these people, they say thank you. Anne Chatilla, Pulse News.
Coming up, Quebec students were bracing for the worst, but the government's backed off for now.
I've spent years watching her.
Relief for worried Quebec University students. The government today announced only a modest increase in tuition fees. Barry Wilson reports.
Quebec students were prepared for the worst. In last spring's provincial budget, the government announced it wanted to bring Quebec fees up to the Canadian average. Since Quebec has the lowest tuition fees in Canada, that would mean huge increases. But the government has backed off, at least for now.
It will be the inflation rate, so it's around 2%. So it means $31 more for next year. And we've decided to be very careful because, you know, we want to maintain the access at the university level.
The government also knows enough not to raise tuition fees in an election year. A group of protesting students was waiting for the minister after cabinet today. They were expecting a big increase. When they heard the news, they were pleased.
1,9%. Ça veut dire pour l'année prochaine, vos droits de scolarité pour toute l'année scolaire augmentent seulement de $30 pour les 2 semestres.
But more than anything else, they were surprised. Barry Wilson, Pulse News, Quebec City.
I'm Brian Brett. Coming up on Pulse, listen in for some conversations with Santa Claus.
Statistics Canada has some encouraging economic news to report. It says its composite leading indicator rose 0.7% last month after gains in October and September. The leading indicator tracks 10 sectors of the economy to try to predict future economic growth. And now a look at the day's markets. Daniel Johnson, who became Quebec Liberal leader yesterday, will become Premier on January the 11th. Johnson and Premier Bourassa ironed out the details of the secession late today. Johnson will be sworn in by the Lieutenant Governor and will present a new and likely much smaller cabinet. Although Johnson doesn't officially take over until next month, he will represent Quebec next week at the meeting of the First Ministers in Ottawa. And Daniel Johnson brings a legacy from his old job into the Premier's office. As head of the Treasury Board, he ordered deep budget cuts. Well, today, the powerful CSN Labour Federation launched what it calls a major year-long offensive. We get the details from Herb Law.
CSN workers staged sit-ins inside hospital entrances and occupied administrative boardrooms of public institutions. They wore street clothes instead of uniforms and passed up pamphlets in health centers, schools, and on the streets today. At issue, the government's 5-year plan to cut budgets, public services, and jobs.
This is the first step in a major campaign where we're going to stop whatever we have to stop to keep Johnson from cutting back the 21,000 jobs in the health sector.
The campaign began as Daniel Johnson began his first full day as Liberal Party leader, and government ministers were to present detailed plans for budget slashing.
It's our job, right? It's to provide services, but when people are going to lose them, we feel it's our job to inform them and get them involved in fighting the government.
In addition to jobs, the CSN is trying to mobilize user and public support against cutbacks and privatization of certain government services, against medical user fees, and for fairer taxation. The powerful Labour Federation says its offensive will continue in various forms all next year. Herb Luft, Pulse News.
Prime Minister Chrétien has shaken up the senior ranks of the diplomatic and military services. The most controversial appointment was his naming his nephew, Raymond Chrétien, the new ambassador to the United States. Leslie Jones has the details.
Raymond Chrétien was banished by the Tories, blamed, the Liberals say unfairly, for the scandal involving the secret entrance of an Iraqi diplomat into Canada during the Persian Gulf War. The Prime Minister is bringing his nephew back from exile to take up the plum post of ambassador to the United States.
And I think he will be a great ambassador, and the Americans will probably consider that as a great occasion for Canada that the top diplomat happened to be the nephew of the Prime Minister.
Raymond Chrétien is a career diplomat, an ambassador 3 times before, the #2 man at External Affairs under the Tories. His uncle is rejecting charges of nepotism, even joking about the appointment.
It will be great, because when he will call the White House, they won't know if it is the ambassador or the Prime Minister.
During the election, the Prime Minister campaigned hard against Tory patronage. The leader of the party he replaced says Chrétien is now showing his true colors.
I guess it didn't take the Liberals a long time to get back to their old habits of patronage that they were denouncing, only very recently.
Jean de Chastelain, the current ambassador in Washington, is being recalled to take up his old job as chief of the defense staff. He'll oversee the largest review of Canada's military needs since the Second World War. And the man who now heads the military, Admiral John Anderson, is being moved, the Liberals say, for not handling politically sensitive issues, everything from the cancellation of military helicopters to Canada's role in Somalia, adroitly enough. The appointment of Raymond Chrétien is receiving mixed reviews. The association representing foreign service officers applauds the move, saying it's time that professionals got the top jobs rather than Tory political appointees. But Canada watchers in the United States say since the general did such a good job, the appointment of Chrétien could be seen as nepotism. Leslie Jones, CTV News, Ottawa.
Last winter, Hydro-Quebec cut the power to more than 11,000 customers because of non-payment of bills. But Hydro Ombudsman William Schwartz says that shouldn't happen this year. Under a new directive issued last June, Hydro will turn off electricity during the cold months only in exceptional circumstances. In his annual report released today, Schwartz says his office received some 1,500 complaints last year. Half of them dealt with billing and consumption. The utility followed his recommendation about 2/3 of the time. The new civil code that comes into effect January the 1st contains some important changes for landlords and for tenants. Bob Benedetti explains.
I would say that out of, say, 24 changes, maybe 21 are positive and 3 are negative.
With that kind of reaction from tenants' rights activist Arnold Bennett, it's no surprise landlords are not pleased. Pierre Aubry is president of the Ligue des Propriétaires.
They're getting into giving more loopholes so that a tenant can profit by loopholes in the law, and giving more responsibilities to a landlord.
One change landlords and tenants alike should be aware of right away. Notices like lease extensions and rent increases must state in writing that the tenant has 1 month to reply or the notice is void. Another important change affects people who find they must move in the middle of a lease.
From now on, nobody in their right mind is going to want to sublet rather than transfer the lease unless they're planning to come back.
A registered letter telling the landlord you wish to assign, that is, transfer the lease to someone else, giving the name and address of that person, is all that is required. Landlord has 15 days to refuse for good cause only.
The only basic information is name and address. And on that, you should be able to decide if this tenant will be a pain in the neck to the other tenants, if he will pay the rent.
Another change makes it possible for someone to cancel a lease on 3 months' notice if they become handicapped or are admitted to a nursing home.
The small landlord will get fed up. They are fed up. Most of them want to sell what they have.
Bottom line is that if you've got a good relationship with your landlord, or you're a landlord and have a good relationship with your tenants, the changes to the civil code aren't going to affect you very much. In fact, it might even make things a little bit easier. But whatever your relationship, it wouldn't hurt to find out what's in the law. And you can get a copy of this brochure, the Civil Code as it relates to rented dwellings, your rights and obligations, from any rental board office, Communications Quebec office, or you can call the rental board hotline 24 hours a day at 873-2245. That's 873-2245. Bob Benedetti, Pulse News.
A new poll says Quebecers' attitudes about organ donation are changing. Attempts to get people to sign organ donor cards have paid off, but many healthy organs are never recovered for use. Howard Schwartz tells us why.
As of today, 520 Quebecers are waiting for organs: kidneys, hearts, lungs, and livers. Some literally will die waiting. It's not because of a lack of willing donors. A new survey says more than 70% of Quebecers have signed organ donation cards on their driver's permits or health insurance cards. Still, a startling number of transplantable organs are never used.
We know that there is at least somewhere between 40 and 50% of potential donors that are not identified.
The problem is most Quebec hospitals do not have a system for identifying potential donors. Many times, families of donors are never even asked.
Doctors have expressed their fear to approach the family at a very, very sensitive time, a bad time, and they feel most uncomfortable to have to add to their pain by asking for organ donation.
The survey shows people most likely to offer their organs are French-speaking, well-educated, high-income earners between 25 and 34 years old. A nonprofit transplant network will use this poll to try and educate reluctant Quebecers. Transplant Quebec approached hospitals across the province to create organ donation committees and join the network. So far, of more than 120 hospitals, only 25 have answered.
There's no doubt it's a difficult question for a grieving family to deal with. But the survey is interesting when the tables are turned. It asks, even if you wouldn't donate your organs, would you accept donated organs for yourself or someone close to you? 70% said yes, they would. Transplant Quebec says people who are willing to accept donated organs should be just as willing to donate them. Howard Schwartz, Pulse News.
So many girls and boys, so many different toys. We can happily report tonight that Santa Claus seems to be on top of all of it. Today, Brian Britt was at the Rockland Shopping Center getting an idea of what gift Santa will be leaving under all those trees this year.
You can talk to buyers in department stores all you want. Here's the man who really knows what's hot this year, because he gets it firsthand.
And would you like to tell me what you want for Christmas?
I want all the Barbie dolls.
All the Barbie dolls?
And even a house with it.
And even a house with a 3-story house with a garage underneath and everything. And how many Barbies is that?
Like 100.
I beg your pardon?
100.
100 Barbies? Oh.
An afternoon with Santa reveals that Barbie is the big present for girls this year. Most of the boys put a fire truck at the top of the list. A lot of the older boys and girls were at school today, so Santa had some periods when he could just sit there and take a break. This break ended abruptly when an entire class of nursery school children dropped by. Making sure Santa would fill all their Christmas wishes, they decided to serenade him. Some of the younger children were lost for words when they came face to face with the man with the snow-white beard. But Santa always managed to elicit at least a smile from his young admirers. For young Nick there, it started out very well, but seeing Santa can be overwhelming.
Hello, how are you? Come and see me. Hello. How old are you, Nick? Hey, Nick, how old are you? 2 years old? 3 years old? Yeah. Tell me, Nick, what would you like for Christmas this year? Hey, what do you want for Christmas? Huh? What is it you'd like? Want a little truck? Little car?
I tried for an interview with Gabriel to find out how he felt as he waited for the big moment, but he seemed preoccupied.
Yeah? Okay, we'll let you go. There he is. He's waiting for you up there. Do you see him? He's looking over here. Take a look at him. Do you see him there? He's waving. Look, Kevin, he's waving. You better go see him. Bye-bye.
Amazingly, all the children we spoke with today were on Santa's list of good little boys and girls. Looks like no one will be disappointed on Christmas Day. Brian Britt, Pulse News.
I like the little girl that wanted 100 Barbies. Think big, I always say. So it's going to get a little cooler tomorrow.
It will, and welcome back to the Pulse Infirmary. And we'll have
Bill's sick today.
Bill's sick today. Sunshine also tomorrow.
To make the soldier would become one of those ways that the military history of the country could be passed on to children. It's part of their history. It's why they live the way they do. And it's important that they know this. We don't teach this very much to our children, unfortunately.
4 to go in the second period. Barnes to Branham. Tim Branham moving in. Branham centering it out in front. Barnes does the same. Here's a chance down with a shot, and that one missed the target. And the Oceanic will get it out down the ice as the Colts get some offense going. Mike Christian, long pass for Blaine down, too far for him. Perriard will touch it, and that will be icing against the Colts.
Well, the Detroit Red Wings, who Ryan Barnes is protected by after being asked to deal with, there's some
points during the season for him. Tops in the CHL. Poland around behind the net. Ed Hill will pick it up, and Hill is off the boards, too far for Sheldon Keefe. Is the big line out there for the Colts. 3 points in 3 previous games for them. They had 9 points against Halifax. They're up against the top line for the Oceanic. There's Jefferson and Richards colliding. Bouncing puck picked up by Jefferson. Quickly to Sheldon Keefe. Keefe winds, fires a shot that hit Joel Roulier. And then it hit the mesh behind the glass here at the Halifax Metro Center, and that brings about the whistle. 9:36 to go here in the second period. It's 1-0 for the champions from Quebec.
Hey, Granddad.
Halifax Metro Center. Championship Sunday of the 82nd edition of the Memorial Cup. 9:36 to go in the second period. The Rimouski Oceanic have a 1-0 lead on a goal by the top scorer in the CHL, Brad Richards. The Barrie Colts have their top line out there now of Sheldon Keefe, Mike Jefferson, and Dennis Schwitke. Joe Roulier. Can it get by Jefferson? He bounces it in on Sebastian Caron. He'll leave it there for Roulier. Round the boards. O'Keefe can't keep it in. He's paired with Tim Branham on the Colts blue line. Here's Schwitke. Trying to get loose. Tremblay sends it the other way. Tim Branham will pick it up. A 5th-round pick to the Colts. He has been outstanding as a youngster. Here the other way is Tremblay. Alex Tremblay moving in. Shot. Finley the save. Loose. Cleared away by Branham, but not out. Martin leaves it for Roulier. Long shot. Finley got a glove on it. Badarni will keep it in. René Badarni up top. Roulier waits. Wrist shot blocked nicely there by the captain, Sheldon Keefe. And he'll flip it away.
Puck was rolling on Roulier. He wanted to shoot that right away, but he had to get it to sit down first, and that gave Keefe time to block it.
Here they come again. Tremblay with a shot. Goes off Branham. Behind the net. Tremblay with Beaulieu out in front. Beaulieu now, the captain. In for the loose puck. Branham ties him up. Benoit Martin gets loose. Martin moving and scores! What a shot! Benoit Martin! Upstairs And the Oceanic have a 2-0 lead.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, my.
Benoit Martin, what a goal. Martin, that's his third of the MasterCard Memorial Cup. He did not have a lot of room, but Finley was down. And Martin took advantage of what little room there was. Short side, right up in the roof of the net. Look at that. That is unbelievable that Martin wedged that thing up there. Martin, he sees Finley down and figures, let's see what happens if we can put it short side right upstairs. And Rimouski's been putting on some pressure here for a while, and they've had some chances on the power play. And Finley's made some saves. He didn't stop that one as Benoit Martin went upstairs.
Shots on goal even now at 20 apiece. As the Oceanic have opened up a 2-0 lead here against the Colts. Tremblay getting the assist at 11:35 on Benoit Martin's third of the tournament. He didn't have much room, and he went upstairs with a great shot. Judicinski, long shot. Caron, Verbeek overskates it. Judicinski gets it. And he in turn gives it away to Brad Richards, who'll start out. Richards at center, 3-on-2 with Cadu moving in. Back to Richards. Cross-ice Cadu. Kolnick scores! Tic-tac-toe! And Uri Kolnick finishes it off.
What a 3-on-2 by Rimouski. And that's the last line that the Barrie Colts want to see coming down on them in a 3-on-2 situation with Richards, Cadu, and Kolnick. And this play is developed perfectly. You see the puck to Richards on the far wing, and that pass was hard and on the tape for Kolnick. It was a long ways to go, and if you're passing it that far through the middle of the ice, you have to pass it hard, and it has to be on the stick. Cadu dishes it off to Richards, and look at Richards with a saucer pass through the slot, and Kolnick fires it past Finley. That was an incredible play from the pass by Richards to the shot by Kolnick.
Just 53 seconds after Benoit Martin made it 2-0. Uri Kolnick gets the goal from Richards and Cadu. And the Barrie Colts are in deep trouble here with 7:32 to go in the second period. 12:28, the time of the goal, the fourth of the tournament for Uri Kolnick.
Well, some incredible goals from Brian Finley, and that last one on 3-on-2. And if the team can make some passes like that, and then Kolnick can get a shot away like that, you almost have to tip your hat to him and say, wow, that's quite a play. And the Barrie Colts are going to have to answer with something here before the second period is done.
That line of Kolnick, Richards, and Cadu so far have produced 5 points. Now, how will the Colts answer? Henrik with Down and Christian now. Number 23 across the line, and it's an offside. Shots on goal even now at 21.
Well, Michael Christian out there who will take this first shift after the goal, and you look at the bench of the Barrie Colts, and just like that, they're down 3-0. At 1-0, it's not too big of a deal, but Rimouski explodes for a couple of quick ones. And look how that's affected that bench.
3 goals, all here in the second period. 370 goals during the regular season for Rimouski, the third-ranked team in the country. Christian, out to Michael Henrik, off his skate, Michel Perriard, back to his own zone to pick it up the glass, takes the net, running down, moves in, quick shot, Perriard the block, down gets it again, but shot low in the air, has it there. This line for the Colts, trying to get on the scoreboard, but back the other way. Perriard, penalty coming up. Ooh, the Barrie Colts, and it's going to be Michael Christian going off. And this puts the Colts in an even bigger hole now.
Well, puts them in a tough situation. They have to fill off the penalty against this highly offensive Rimouski club, a holding penalty against Christian. But the Colts can take solace in the fact that they've killed off 3 already in this game, and they've done a pretty good job in doing it. They haven't given up a lot of great opportunities. So Michael Fisker will go to the box, and Rimouski Oceanic will send out their gunners. But the Barrie Colts are short-handed in this game. They've done very well. They've only given up 4 shots from the Rimouski Oceanic. And if you can, in 3 power plays, only give up 4 shots to this club, you're doing something right.
Right from the face-off, Sheldon Keith will hammer it down the ice. So they cannot afford to give up a goal here. 6:32 to go in the second period. Rimouski has exploded for 3 goals. Coleman throws it in. Out there with Tremblay and Beaulieu. Roulier, there's a shot deflected by Keith. Richards is on the blue line. Coleman with the puck now. Here on Coleman. Back to Richards. One-time shot. Through the crowd. Couldn't even save. Jefferson gets it up to Sheldon Keith, and he'll start out. Takes the bump from Tremblay as he gets it into the Rimouski zone. Coleman has it now. Cross-ice pass for Alex Tremblay. Crosses the blue line. Here is Tremblay. Stop. Pass. Coleman. Shot. Over top of the net. Bounces out his left. Tremblay in there looking for it. Finley blocked out. It ends up on the net. And we'll get a whistle.
Well, the Barrie Colts trying to keep Rimouski to the outside as best they can. Alexander Tremblay out there, Ed Hill, and it's got Eric Reese. Eric Reese, 17-year-old from Plymouth, Michigan. And he was Barrie's first-round pick in the 99 draft. And at 12 points during the course of the season, he's ranked 127th by Central Scouting and North American players for the upcoming NHL draft.
Right, number 23 is Patrick Bell, and he's out there now to hit the drive and get it hit. Bell, number 14, right up front. Here's a chance. Long shot. And he left, didn't miss by much. Perriard with a chance. Kidizitsky watching him. He scores! Michel Perriard! And he was hurt. Right as he put that puck in the net, he's down. The celebration tempered right now as Michel Perriard slides on the ice.
Michel Perriard being attended to. Good goal by him, and Perriard, the 20-year-old defenseman, who gets up into the play so very well. 25 goals in the regular season. He had 5 in the postseason. Perriard now with his second of his MasterCard Memorial Cup. Pulls Finley off the post and goes to the short side, and he just come up on him. Thatcher Bell tries to get into the way and pull a bit of a piss. Perriard gets Finley to leave the post, and it looks like the stick Kidizitsky got a little high up on Michel Perriard.
Perriard, the leading point getter in this team right now, with 8 points in the tournament. Rimouski with 3 goals in just 2 minutes and 48 seconds have opened up a 4-0 lead. This is their first on the power play. Perriard will remain on the bench. And as Cam mentioned, got a stick from Matt Kidizitsky.
Looks like he's going to be all right, which is good to see. You don't like to see a stick coming up like that at any time, but Michel Perriard so good with the puck.
This Rimouski team is so talented. 4 goals now. With 5 minutes and 27 seconds to go here in the second period. Ouellette picking up the assist at point 23. Laying down. Back the other way with Branham and Michael Henry. Barnes trying to keep it in. Can't do it. Ouellette the other way. LaRiviere 3-on-1. Rimouski. LaRiviere cannot pull the trigger. Centers it out in front. Henry will pick it up. Get it back to Ryan Barnes. Henry. No. He'll flip it in, take it up. Roulier has it there for Rimouski. Roulier hit by Jefferson. Right there with 50. Keith with a chance for 50. Trying to get it over to Keith. Manella's broken out by Scanzano. Back the other way they come. Benoit Martin. There's Eric Reese into the board. Out the other way. Reese. They get it out down the ice. Perriard and Scanzano on the blue line for Rimouski. Hits into the Barrie zone, and Hill will pick it up there. On the play, Horst Jefferson involved. This time with Terrio back on the ice. English leave it for Hill. 4 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the second period. Cadu, Richards, and Polnick now step on the ice for the Rimouski. Oceanic. Brilliant. Off the glass. This is a Polnick. He's hit by Jefferson as the puck goes into the Barry zone. And Hill. In there with Cadu. Reach. Trying to get loose. Comes away with it. Brilliant. Will keep it in. Jefferson. Public enemy number 1 here in Halifax. Among the Rimouski fans. Polnick gives it away, and here is Dennis 50. 50 trying to get around Terrio. Flat. 17 goes on. He's hit by Rulio. Kidizitsky throwing his weight around as well. Simmons trying to get loose. Cannot do it. And Jan Cadu comes back the other way. Cadu. Simmons. Into the corner. And that's the inbound skip for the big line. They'll step off. Aaron Johnson. Number 44 is the kick now. They'll have to stop Casey. Casey moving in. It is in. Down on the save. After Bell. The penalty coming up. And when we come back, we will talk more hockey, but it is the Rimouski Oceanic number 1 in offense during the season, showing why. Uri Polnick and a great feed from Richards. And then Michel Thurion, the number 1 scoring defenseman in the Quebec League, makes it 4-0 for the Oceanic.
And Johnson getting worked in.
Also on their 4th power play of this hockey game. 0 for 3 so far. They've generated 4 shots. John Casey on the blue line. Moving in. Mason now behind the net. Jefferson, Keith, 50, and Blank for the Colts. This is Mike Jefferson, number 34. Sheldon Keith. Still has it. Cross-ice pass is picked off by Poirier, and he'll send it down the ice. Finley. There's Nicholas Poirier watching him. He gives it to Sheldon Keith, and then Keith takes a bump from number 11. Tim Bland has the puck in his skate. For Jefferson. Gives it to Casey. To Dennis 50 moving in. 50 around the dot. 50 with a shot. Caron with the rebound. And Caron will cover it up.
Dennis 50 showing that world-class skill that he has with the puck. He handles it so very well. And Dennis 50 keeps his head up all the time. And Bedani swings his stick a bit, but Dennis 50 stayed with it all the way till he got a shot on net. And Dennis 50's had 4 chances in this game. Hasn't been able to get one past Sebastian Caron. Look at the draw pick here with the Barry Colts, Brian Finley, Dennis 50, Michael Henrik, all first-round selections. Keith is a second-rounder. So is Ryan Barnes. And a lot of high draft picks from the Barry Colts Hockey Club.
So they do not have a goal here in the championship game. 4-0 to score. They're on the power play. Henrik has shot, rebound. And they score. And it's number 19, Matt Gilizitsky, who puts it home. And the Colts are on the board with a power play goal.
And it all starts by winning a face-off. And the puck goes back to Michael Henrik, and he gets his shot on net, but that face-off has to be won, and it is. Clean back to Henrik. Good, hard, low shot on net. And Kidizitsky finds nothing but net on the rebound. As Caron was down, you can see Verbeek standing in front. He ties up a defenseman, and Caron was down on the ice. Didn't have much of a chance. And Matt Kidizitsky, the 20 goal from Mississauga, Ontario, the big goal for the Barry Colts, and pulls him back into the game.
2:04 to go in the second period. A power play goal for Matt Kidizitsky at 17:56. His second of the tournament. He now has 3 points. Here's Tim Verbeek. Verbeek with a shot. Caron, the blocker save. It goes into the net. And that brings about a stoppage.
Verbeek trying to sneak one in on the short side. 20-year-old from Wyoming, Ontario, who had the series-winning goal against Plymouth in the OHL final. Also had the game winner yesterday afternoon against Halifax in the semifinal game. Tim Verbeek scores the big goals for this club. He's had some of the biggest of the season. They had 21 during the regular season.
That was a career high for number 16. The brother of Pat Verbeek. And Pat is here in Halifax to cheer on his younger brother and win a Memorial Cup. His team is down by 3. Sanzano in his own zone. Takes it back to Perriard. Up to Jan Cadu. Out there with Pullman and Richards. Finley will leave it there for Ryan O'Keefe. Number 2 with the pass to Zipsy. You didn't see it. And Perriard will just slip it in. 1:15 to go here in the second period. The Colts on the scoreboard. Still trailed by 3. Zipsy fires it in. Perriard is there. Gets it to Trombley. Out there now. Both years. Here's Trombley. Quick shot. Rebound in front. Clear but not out. Ready the batting is it. Here the save. Trombley the chance. That one goes wide. Less than a minute to go now in the second period. Oceanic. Pressure. Bouncing puck comes to Ryan Barnes. He gets it to Michael Christian. Christian at the blue line. For Barnes. Caron will get it. And the Oceanic will get it out. 32 seconds to go now in the second. Christian lost his balance and fired it into the Oceanic zone, and that's where Trombley will take it up. On the board, checked in by Blaine Down. Down takes a buck. Down is loose and sticks, but the Oceanic will get it out. 13 seconds to go now here in the second period. Joe Roulier being watched by Blaine Down. Right out in front it goes, but Ryan Barnes couldn't catch up to him. 3 seconds to go as Trombley gets it out. And all the scoring here, a penalty being called right at